All right, in this vlog and podcast, I am talking about my cat. Now, I know some of you have been asking where has my cat been in some of my home videos. And let's talk about that a little bit here. Now, she is 17 years old. So she's an elderly cat now. She's sleeping all the time. That's why she hasn't really been in any of my podcasts. And if she does get into it, in the video, she gets out pretty quick. She just, she's her own being. She is her own, she does what she wants to do. 17 years ago, someone brought a bunch of kittens to the place where I was working. And when I went out there to look at the kittens, I opened their car door, and she basically came right at me, came right to me. And they say the cat who usually picks their, owner. If I don't even want to call myself an owner, she's the one that owns this house pretty much. And they said that she has a bobcat in her. So like the grandfather was a bobcat. Now, people do say that all the time, and she is not the size. Whenever you have a house cat and a bobcat mixed, they end up with giant cats. And she is far from being a giant cat. However, she has the temperament. She is a very wild cat, and she can be really mean. And I mean, I've tried my best to domesticate her, and she can be around like my parents. She likes my dad, she likes me, and that's it. Anybody else she runs from. If I take her to the vet, it is a disaster. And I do take her to the vet. I get her shots every single year. She's spayed, and she is a handful at the vet. So she is. Cats are like a social animal, and she's been on her own like this entire 17 years. So that might play into it as well, because she hasn't been around other cats. She's been around other animals. When I first got her, my buddy or a buddy of mine kept bringing over his dog, and the dog interacted with her when she was a kitten. But with a kitten, they don't really show the craziness until they get into an adult or whatever, if they have, some wild genes in them. Yeah, she does not like going outdoors either, because she got stuck one time. I don't know how many years ago it was, but one time she bolted out the door and I couldn't find her, and I searched every single day. It literally hurt me because, I've had a cat for probably 6, 7, 8 years at that point, and she just took off and I couldn't find her. After about a week of searching, and I even had friends searching for her, on my way to work one morning, or no, it was actually in the evening. So after I got off work, I saw two glowing eyes underneath my neighbor's building. They had a building, had a space underneath it, saw two glowing eyes under there. Couldn't coax her out from under there. If it was her, I'm 99% positive it was her. But that very next morning, I went back out and found her underneath the neighbor's trailer. They had the building was on the other side of the property, but the trailer was next to my driveway. And there she was. I coaxed her out with some food. She was starving. She was dehydrated. I had to nurse her back to health. And ever since that incident, she won't, I opened the door, she's running the other way. She does not want to go outside ever. Now, being 17 years old, she is showing the signs of being an elderly cat. She still tries to be like, a 3 or 4-year-old cat. But she is slowing down, and there's other signs, like she might even have diabetes or possibly have diabetes. I need to take her to the vet to find out. She drinks a lot of water. She sleeps a lot more than what she used to, which is one of the reasons why she's not in my videos. And she's gotten more attached to me. Like in the past, she'd say hi. She'd rub up against me. I could pet her. and then she'd take off. But now I could literally be editing a video and she'll be sleeping in my lap for hours. So there has been some like changes in her behavior, which is from what I've read is common when cats get old, and they can get to be over 20 years old. So she's still got a few years left in her. Still, she's getting old, and I figured I'd do a video on her. Like I said, some of you have been asking about her, but I also, just for myself, just to kind of document all this and at least have her on camera. This hopefully won't be the last time. She's just gotta jump up here. I'm not going to force her to get on the camera. Obviously, I've given her some food to trick her into, being on camera for a little bit here while she eats this food. She really does like the canned food every now and then. I don't feed her this all the time, but every now and then I do this. And, I know there's better ways to take care of cats and this, that, and the other. But, she's been a good cat. This is the longest living animal that I've ever had, obviously. 17 years. I had a cat when I was a child that survived 2 years. I think it was 2 years. And that poor cat, it was a male. She's a female. The one that I had back then was a male. And he got into like a routine where he would like disappear and then come back. And I think he had his like path. And he would do it every single day, and he'd come back to eat, and then he'd take off, and then he'd come back or whatever. But he had like kind of a routine, just tomcatting around. And one day he came crawling home. He had something, so he got hit by something, and it like busted his face. But he was still trying to do his thing. He crawled his way home, and we're like, oh no, this is not good. Ate his food. We were getting ready to take him to the vet. He disappeared because he took and went back on his route and came crawling home. I mean, he literally crawled through his route for at least a day before we finally caught him again and took him to the vet and got the bad news. So that was, the longest lived, second longest lived animal that I had. I had dogs live longer. We had like a hound mix, and I don't know how many years. He was over 2 years. So for cats, 17 years, 2 years, and then that hound mix was, I don't know how many years. It was quite a few, probably at least 5. But I'm not really a dog person, and I've had bad experiences with dogs. I've been bitten multiple times. When I was 14, I had a chow, my neighbor's chow, grabbed my ankle and dragged me halfway through the driveway, or halfway down the driveway, just asserting its dominance to me. And I thought I was friends with her. And they had 2 chows. They had a male and a female, and the female was the alpha dog. However, she would let me like pet her and play with her and stuff like that. But just one day, walking down the driveway, got dropped off from school on the school bus. It grabbed my ankle and decided to drag me halfway down the driveway before letting go and strutting off. And back then, I was a beanpole. I mean, I was like 26 when I started gaining the weight, 26 years old. But when I was a kid, I was an absolute beanpole. And that's why I was able to play football and this, that, and the other. I was a strong safety and tight end playing football. That's a little bit too much information, I guess. But I was very skinny, so it was easy for that dog to drag me down the driveway. And even ever since, I've had people, when I installed cable modems before, and I had a lady who was like, oh, he doesn't bite anybody. Here, you can pet him. And I reached down and smack, he just grabbed my hand and tried to rip my fingers off my hand. I've had bad experiences with dogs. That's why I'm a cat person, and I like cats. And she's been at 2 different homes too. It does make me feel a little bit bad that I brought her here, because my previous house, where she lived most of her life, was just a little bit over 1,000 square feet. So it was a smaller house, but she had room to run around and everything in. This cottage, this tiny home, is about a quarter of that size. But I've only been here just over a year, I think, and she is getting older. So it should be fine for her. I have tried to train her on a leash and tried to get her to go outside, but one, she doesn't like the leash, and two, she does not want to be outside. So it is what it is. I've been thinking about making like a cat course, like on the walls and stuff too. I may still do that someday. But for now, she's been doing pretty good. The vet says she's healthy the last time I took her there. And yeah, she's been a good cat, even with the the temperament, which I think may spawn from having bobcat genes. Now, I know I did a poll on this, and now she's dropping it on the floor. I did a poll on this, and it was kind of mixed results of whether you guys wanted me to do this video or not. So, like I said, this is mainly for me, and I apologize that this isn't anything about fishing or pay lakes or whatever. But, you know, at least I tricked her to being on camera again for some of you to see that want to actually see her. Now, as always, I want to thank you for taking your time out of your day to actually watch this video. I really, really appreciate it. And now, I need to decide if I want to do a response video to that pay lake video that I made, because I got a lot of spicy comments on it, or just simply just go fishing. I think I'd rather go fishing right now, so I might try to go fishing. And, yep, there she goes. She's, taking off. She got her food, she got her fill, and now she is probably going to go to bed. But anyway, thanks again for watching. I do hope to see you next time. I always look at it this way. If a video has value, then I publish it, even if I don't catch any fish. My cat is jealous. So, thanks again, guys, for watching, and I really hope to see you next time.